The whole thing, looking back, is just a phenomenal journey, you know. And to have the capping of the fire is a total bummer, but the other capping is how many people were touched and are touched by this thing that I was so lucky to come and have my hands on. And then so lucky to be able to, the circumstances just right, that I could clean up after the fire and stand on 2 feet and go forward. We moved here in 2007, and he had built cabins and thought that lavender would be an attraction to the cabins and make people enjoy the place and remember it for its pretty lavender, because it was obvious that it would do really good in this type of soil. So I came and figured out the lavender, and then it became more and more popular, and it was a slow train toward becoming what we are now. Cole bought it in 1998. And he bought it to develop it as a destination for cabins. And along the way, people got to come to this place and have a heck of an experience. Horses, cabin guests from all over the world, creek campground, lavender experience, hiking, you know, adventure, and then meeting new people as they stayed here.
I'd been looking for a place where there could be like an Airbnb with horses, and it would butt up against public land, so that you wouldn't have to trailer the horses to go riding. You could just ride off the property. Looked in Mammoth, looked in Bishop, couldn't find anything, and the realtor said, "Oh yeah, but you know, there's this place down in Lone Pine. It's 40 acres with a little house, and I don't want to go down there, so here's the name of the realtor." So I called her up. Instead of taking a nap that afternoon, while I drove down here, and it was a complete dump. I mean, and the house was a complete wreck. And I went into a cabin across the road, the only one that was there, and it was a total wreck. But there was a 6-foot-long bathtub in the bathroom, and I flicked the water on, and water came out. So I just decided, oh, I can remodel this. Yeah, I took it as a sign. Wanted some cabins and whatnot, but I wanted it small. And then the lavender was just, I saw some growing at a winery in Sonoma, and I said, oh, I wonder if that would grow at the ranch. And it just, this is the perfect climate for it.
We grow several different varieties for several different reasons. They have a little stagger in their production. So we make all those products that are in the barn, like a lip balm, like a bath salt, like a hand soap, or we sell straight dried lavender bundles or blossoms for cooking or sachets, a bunch of different products. And this is the lavender oil that goes in that we just harvested this year. Nearly a whole bottle to do all those, and it takes 45 pounds of lavender just to make that. Well, like 2 or 3 of these. And so it's amazing. But that's one kind, the kind you can put on your lips and it won't bother you.
You know, we had a pretty steady cabin business, and we had, you know, the lavender was, you know, thriving, and we had lots of people help harvest it, and there were work trade situations where people could stay in a cabin or they could camp or whatever they wanted to do in exchange for a couple hours a day of work on the lavender.
So the fire started in late October of 24, this past October. And it started as a smolderer, kind of smoldering thing, way, 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 way high. No human could hike up to it because it was like rock face, crags in it, something smoking in there. and they got bigger and bigger in that spot, and they had to call helicopters in. And this is like the first couple weeks of October.
So then one day they declared it contained, which means it's out, and everybody left. And about 10 days later, some heavy downslope winds came, whipped it back into a major fire, and it was too late to have any water brought back there because it was too windy to fly, and it was at night. Fire truck came down the driveway. I'm sleeping and shouting through a loudspeaker, get out, get out, get out, evacuate, sparks overhead. And so we picked up as quickly as we could. And meanwhile, 65-mile-an-hour sustained winds. And we're watching this red glow from the canyon just sort of move and go up the hillsides. And people in town and over in Darwin said it was just spectacular to look at because it was just this gigantic fire that we could not see because the canyon walls blocked it, but they could see it.
Yeah, I was ruined, really. It was like my whole future, my whole life, everything I knew about myself, my whole identity. It was like,
Yeah, then the next morning they wouldn't let me come up the hill to look until a local guy took over being the guard down the road, and he said, well, I'm not going to keep you out of your property. So I came up and looked, and house was here, that little thing was here, everything else was burnt. Well, except the barn, which was badly damaged.
So the canyon goes, back up in there, and then everything up there burned. And this here was a gazebo kitchen with this gorgeous redwood timber and, cathedral roof and just gorgeous. And it was screened in, and we had a full bathhouse here with two toilets and showers, and everything was its own piece and really beautiful and a very lovely place.
Well, the rebuilding can't happen because if you were to walk up the canyon, you'd see like just massive, destruction. And so there's almost no vegetation back in there. And I'm thinking very, very few trees that are living. And that's what holds the dirt together. And if we get a monsoonal rain that sits over our canyon for a while and drops a certain amount of rain, it could send rocks and dirt and debris and logs and everything else down the canyon and wipe out anything we built.
So for now, rebuilding is just rebuilding my self-esteem and rebuilding our purpose and trying to figure out month to month what we're going to do. And mostly it's just wait. So no buildings are being built. And to many people's disappointment, we can't just jump in there, use insurance money to build a beautiful place that it was before. So we have about 4 or 5 years before I think soil engineers would say, okay, you're safe. So between now and then, we can't really rebuild. About 2 weeks before I really had to start cutting lavender, a neighbor who comes now and then, and who's always come up here to visit, he said, what do you need? And I said, well, I think I can clean the barn and make it presentable, because it had gotten all burned inside and it was terrible. And he said, if I'll get the word out to friends for people to come and help. And then from that point on, so for the last 7 weeks, people have been coming every weekend. Some people are coming, bringing new friends each time. Some people are meeting friends here. And it's like a quilting bee in the barn and out here. And maybe we could have 12 to 15 people here helping. And people harvesting, cutting, people inside in the shade, working at the tables, processing, people working with Lou on the distiller. The most important thing is we have a distiller that distills, it's a steam distiller that distills the essential oil from the lavender that we either bottle and sell in the quintessential little 1/2 ounce blue bottles, or We use it in several different products. I have one friend this summer, Lou, who's helping me with the actual lavender harvest and doing all the processing of making oil and everything and hosting people here.
So this is French lavender. We have a dark and a light lavender that we combine to make our essential oil. And the lavender gets cut without the stems, just the blossoms, and then the blossoms get packed into this metal drum. And then this gets brought over to the distiller, where we light a propane fire up beneath it and add water. And the more we can pack in, the more oil we'll get. This is connected to the lid, and the steam makes its way down here through the condenser where it separates the water from the oil. This goes on the top. That's pure oil.
So now here we are 7, 8 months later, and spring sprung, so there's a lot of greenery where there was a lot of gray and ash and horribleness. That was why the fire was so devastating, because I thought I had to leave. It really looked like it was impossible. And that changed with time. You know, smoke going away, it's smelling better, all the cleanup, cleaning the house from all the smoke damage. And little by little, I started to feel that feeling again, that is me. And I don't say that in a possessive way, because on paper it doesn't belong to me, but in a soulful, heartful way. It's way more about relationship to it and what it does for other people. Those are the things that hit me the hardest. With the fire, it kind of, makes you unstable, makes you wonder, why did I do all this for nothing? All these thoughts, and that doesn't matter. Everything that happened, interactions with people, people's experiences, people's joy, none of that ever goes away. It still exists.